Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined, as always, by the man who used to be anybody's for a can of cider and a thumb up his arse. It's Greg. How are you today, Greg?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Do you still drink cider?
I do occasionally. I was actually thinking about that recently. Do you remember, when I say recently, I mean the last couple of days, do you remember when we were going away for our mutual friend's stag do and we stayed, I think we both stayed at his the night before we were going to the airport?
Yes.
And unusually for him, he was going to the offie and he asked everybody what they wanted and he was just going to pay for it. I think it was because his wife-to-be was there and, you know, they were, I think under normal circumstances he'd have his hand out for money, but I said, get me a few cans of Strongbow because I felt like having a cider. And he came back with a fucking plastic 1.5 litre bottle of cider. because it's like swing park prices, like the plastic bottles of Strongbow. You know what I mean? It's like the sort of cider you can buy with your pocket money when you're 13.
Yeah.
That's why I bought it, the fucking tight bastard. But yeah.
That's no surprise to me that he came back with that.
Yeah, I know.
Did you chug it out the bottle or did you use a glass?
I used a glass on sort of principle, but I never drank it all because it tastes weird, like sort of plastic bottle cider. And the thing was as well, it wasn't cold, so he'd obviously just gone to the fucking newsagents and bought it. Like it was so, it was an ambient temperature. I think I just drank a few of his cans of beer just out of fucking spite, I think. just to make a point. He's probably still got that plastic bottle of cider. It's probably sitting in his kitchen. How many years ago was that? It's like 2006, I think. So 17 years ago.
Yeah, it must have been 2006. Yeah, I think so.
I think it was.
Wow.
Because his brother-in-law was there as well, remember? Oh, his brother-in-law to be, he stayed as well. He was a eccentric character from the Borders.
Certainly was, yes. Anyway, how's everything with you? All good?
Yeah, fine. I've just come back from a trip to Mexico. Well, Mexico City. I was there for work. I don't recommend it. There's nicer parts of Mexico to go than Mexico City, but it was interesting. It's another place ticked off the sort of list of places I've been. Not like a list of places that I've always wanted to go, just a list of places I can say I've been to. You know. Very
good. Oh well, I'm glad you can tick it off your list. Yeah. Say if you enjoyed it or not, but yeah, glad you ticked it off your list. Oh, it's good to have you back and good to see you again because obviously it's been a while since we recorded. But we're actually recorded the next 3 weeks in a row because then I've got something coming up, so I need a break for. But don't worry, dear listener, we will maintain our current schedule as always. Okay then. Well,
this is just before we crack on with the news. This is our Halloween episode.
Oh God, yeah, of course. I forgot to say in the intro, it's the annual Swally Spooktacular. Yeah. Yes. Oh damn, I totally forgot all about that, Greg. You know, despite the fact that I've been thinking all week that it's the Swally Spooktacular. So you're right. Yeah, I mean, this will be going out 2 days after Halloween, just because that's the way our schedule works. But yes, it is indeed. They're our Swally Spooktacular. Are you up to anything exciting for Halloween?
No, nothing at all. I think my daughters have got some plans, but I'm not so sure. What's your favourite scary movie?
You know, it depends what you classify as scary movie. I mean, Psycho is one of my favourite films of all time, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was like horror. It's funny, I was listening to a podcast just yesterday where they were going on about Halloween versus Friday the 13th.
Right.
And I thought they were very right. And they kind of introduced a little bit of Nightmare on Elm Street into that as well. And I think that they were right what they said. Halloween is the superior film, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But then, if you look at the overall series, I think Friday the 13th is better.
Mm-hmm.
And I would kind of agree with that, because I love the Friday the 13th films. I can chuck on pretty much any one and watch. But I would say Halloween is by far the superior film, and I'd even say Nightmare on Elm Street is better, in my opinion, than the original Friday the 13th. But yeah, I think Halloween, probably.
Yeah.
It's the classic. It's a boring answer, but it is the classic. Yeah, I think I would go with that. What about yourself?
Halloween is on there. I don't know. I was trying to think of films that because like when I watch a film now, like I don't find film's very scary. I was watching the first Conjuring with my daughter, and we had to turn it off. Like we've still not finished it. Because she just can't handle it. I think we've watched maybe in total over like 2 sittings. We've watched about 45 minutes of it. She can't handle it. It's too scary for her. And I like it. I do like The Conjuring. And I think if I'd watched it when I was sort of her age, it would have scared the absolute shit out of me. You know what I mean? But I would have enjoyed it anyway, because I've always enjoyed a scare. So I think sort of for modern films, in terms of sort of scares and unsettling, I think The Conjuring is there. I think it's one of my favourite modern scary film. But I think all-time favourite scary movie is probably the first Halloween, same as you. Yeah, it's just so good. I mean, I could watch it. I could watch it now, right now, and then I could stick it on again tomorrow and watch it. You know what I mean? It's brilliant.
Yeah, I would agree in terms of, I think, in terms of like modern horror, I'm with you, there's not a lot that scares me or freaks me out. I did watch the Terrifier films recently, and they're just fucking bonkers. But I think the scariest kind of thing recent years would be It Follows. I enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah, that was good,
immensely.
Wasn't it? Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good because it was a very different kind of premise. But yeah, I think Halloween takes a lot to beat. I think the only film I've ever really seen that I would say kind of freaked me out a little bit was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't so much scary, it was just more of a, Jesus Christ, what have I just watched?
Yeah.
Because I must have been like 16 or something at the time.
I was about 6, I think I was about 17 when I saw that for the first time. Somebody gave me a loan, because it was banned, wasn't it? It was banned for years and years and years. And then somebody had a copy from overseas that they gave me a loan of. And I remember the bit that I could not believe, bear in mind that it's an old film, is when the disabled brother gets like chainsawed to death in his wheelchair. That wouldn't happen in a film now, I don't think. I don't think that would happen. I really don't. I don't think they'd want to show something like that. I mean, and you don't really see it. You don't really. It's not particularly graphic because it's dark. He's in the woods, but you're in no doubt as to what's happening to him. It's grim. That's fucking
change days. Yeah. Change days. Okay then. Well, yes, this is indeed our Swally Spooktacular. So before we get on to the scary film that we're going to be talking about on the podcast today, shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks, Greg?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, so what have you seen in the news over the last couple of weeks that has caught your eye?
About just before I start my first story, when I was kind of looking over the news websites looking for stories for the podcast today, there was an article, and the headline was, "Man headbutted outside pub in Glasgow city centre after an argument." And I was thinking, like 10, 15 years ago, that wouldn't have been in the paper. Loads of people probably get headbutted outside nightclubs after arguments in Glasgow on a busy night.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm quite surprised it's even made the papers now. Yeah. It's must be a slow news day.
It must, indeed it must be. Well, my first story I suppose it is a story.
Good, I'm glad.
Big Brother has just relaunched or had a reboot, whatever you want to call it, in the UK. So I found an article just sort of catching us up with the famous Scottish contestants that have featured in Big Brother over the years. It's not a comprehensive list. I can think of at least one person who is missing from here, but I can't remember his name. So the first one, if you remember, do you remember Cameron Stout from Orkney?
Yeah, of course. One Big Brother 4.
Yeah, he did indeed. The only, to date, the only Scot to have won the show, and he didn't just win the show, Nicky. He also won the hearts of the nation with his cookie Orkney accent, his Christian beliefs, and his clean-cut image. I can believe that. There's a picture of him, and it is so early 2000s. Got a pregnant Davina, who seemed to be pregnant for about 5 or 6 years, Davina McCall.
Yeah, she did.
And a very, very early 2000s wardrobe for Cameron. He's got some baggy cargo trousers on and a white t-shirt underneath a sort of beige short-sleeved shirt. when he was on the show, he swapped places, if you remember, with the Big Brother Africa housemate. Watch me absolutely mangle this poor guy's name, Gaetano Kagwa, during his stint, and he got 1.9 million votes, more than 500,000 more than his nearest rival. 20 years on, the former fish trader turned primary school teacher and radio Orkney presenter still gets recognised across the world. He said, "We were all warned that our lives would change, but I never really gave it too much thought. I certainly didn't think about being recognised 20 years on. I can't go on holiday to Canada without someone saying, 'Aren't you that guy from Orkney who was in Big Brother?'"
Oh, wow.
Every time it still looks much the same. Every time I get a new class to teach, I think they'll not know. Then some girl will say, "My mum says," and it's about Big Brother. It's very sweet. Any favourite Cameron moments?
No, I mean, I remember watching that series, and yeah, Cameron was fun. He was nice. I mean, I supported him because he was Scottish. There was 2 Scottish people in that house, actually, that year. The other guy, who you might come to, Federico, he was a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah.
But Cameron was always just very nice and seemed, he was lovely and sweet. I mean, they totally changed Big Brother after that year, though, because it was the most boring year, because everyone was so nice and kind of got on.
Yeah.
So they did change it maybe a little bit too much in the next series, because the next series was Fight Night.
Yeah.
Where it all kicked off and people were throwing trays at each other and stuff. So, but yeah, Cameron was always very nice. I liked him.
Yeah, I remember Cameron. So as you say, the next one that bring me on nicely to is Federico Martoni from Glasgow. He survived until day 29 of Series 4 in 2003, which surprised many after he angered people... After he angered the people of Newcastle when he claimed that 9 out of 10 Geordie women were slags.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Federico, what are you like? I think I probably still rooted for him a bit because he was Scottish. You kind of have to, right?
Yeah, you do.
So the next one on our list then is Mikey Hughes. Remember Mikey? He was blind.
I do. I'd stopped watching it by this point. But yeah, I do. I remember being aware of him, yeah.
I stopped watching it as well. He was 23 when he went on the show. He's from Kilwinning in Ayrshire. What's he doing now? So he is on the radio. He's a DJ on Radio Insight, which I guess is a radio station for the partially sighted and for the blind. He's got a PhD in economic and social history, and he ran as an MP in a Glasgow by-election in 2009, but he didn't win. Next one then, do you remember Shell Dubin from Glasgow? The art
Yes,
student?
I do. Yeah, she famously got her degree results and then mowed the lawn nude.
That's right. There's a picture of her mowing the lawn nude. Here, right here. As you mentioned a minute ago, it was one of the programme's most controversial and memorable years. Now, this is what I was going to ask you about. I'm sure there was another Scottish guy that was on that year, a sort of bodybuilder guy. Yeah, he's not on this list. Yeah,
Jason Cowan. I remember his name. Yeah. He was all right, actually. He got to the final, I think. But yeah,
I feel like he got into a bit of trouble later on.
He did.
For something.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Well, Shell, she was sadly she was dating Scott Hutchinson from the band Frightened Rabbit before he passed away in 2018. But she lives in the US now, where she works as a museum curator. Obviously, she was unavailable for comment because she's not said anything. And then next one is an Aberdonian. Do you remember Lynn from Aberdeen?
I do. I remember her coming into Revolution. Like a couple of weeks after she'd been like kicked out or something, or like 6 months after, and looking around to see if anyone recognised her. I think it was only me that really recognised her, but yeah, I do remember Lynn. She like booted out in the first.
She was the first one. She lost to the late Jade Goody. She was kicked out in the first public vote. Poor old Lynn. She was a mature art history student. After she finished in Big Brother, and presumably after she visited assisted revolution that night when you were working. She moved to London to start a new life, and she was last known to be working in an art gallery. So there you go. Next then, do you remember Sam Brodie from Air?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do remember Sam. So Sam was a she at that point, but then went back to being a he.
He did indeed. He's now married with 2 kids, and he's had a successful career as a TV presenter in Malaysia. He's got and has 200,000 followers on Instagram. So any other Scottish contestants that we've missed there over the years?
I think there's been a couple over the years. I'm struggling to remember now. There's one in the current series, because I have shamefully been watching the current series. So there is a girl from Glasgow, Olivia, in it. And it's odd. She was actually quite annoying the first couple of nights, and I think a lot of people hated her because she was loud, every second word out of her mouth is fuck.
Right.
But she's actually really grown on people, and the public, and she's like one of the favourites to win now, I think. But yeah, I can't think. There probably have been a couple of other contestants over the years, but of course, famously, James Cosmo was in Celebrity Big Brother.
Of course,
at one point.
Yeah, the most famous. He gets everywhere, Cosmo, doesn't he? Even
he does. Yeah. Absolutely everywhere. I'm surprised he hasn't been on I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of here, but I think he's probably too old for that nowadays. Yeah. But you never know. Yeah. Or Dancing on Ice or something. I think his Big Brother experience probably put him off reality TV, because he just sat there fucking miserable the whole time.
The omnipresent James Cosmo.
I think there's a clip of him going mental, because he was in the house with Jedward, and you can imagine they would get on anyone's tits. Yeah. I'm sure there's a clip somewhere of him just fucking going mental at them over a bar of chocolate or something. And they're just sitting there like going, we didn't take your chocolate. I don't know. Where's your chocolate? And Cosmo's just stomping round. Fucking little cunts.
Big Brother's responsible for one of the most uncomfortable experiences I've ever had with my mother. Once I went through to the village my mum lives in one night for dinner and stuff. I had a night off work, so I thought I'll go through. My stepdad was away, so I'll go through, keep her company, have dinner with her. And her and I ended up watching that evening's episode of Big Brother, and it was the episode where one of the ladies masturbated with a wine bottle in the garden. Yeah, Kinga. And
I knew you were going to say that bit.
What I was hoping for was for just a short sort of uncomfortable silence to pass, and then the moment would be forgotten and we'd move on to something else. But then my mum started to explain the dangers of a lady masturbating with a wine bottle. She reckoned the suction could dislodge her internal reproductive organs, if all the sort of elements were aligned for that to happen. And it just ruined the night, if I'm quite honest.
The other contestant I've just remembered was in Big Brother 3 was Sandy, and he was a dour kind of Scots guy with glasses and a beard. Yeah. And he fucking wasn't enjoying the house and hated everyone. Yeah. Everyone was getting on his tits. So one morning, I think he got up at like 6 o'clock. He pissed in the kitchen bin as like his leaving present, and then climbed over the wall and left. I remember that. And they were all cheering, like, oh, go Sandy. And as he left and he waved goodbye, and then they come back in, they're like, what's this puddle in the kitchen? Sandy's leaving present.
I mean, I suppose there's worse places he could have pissed than the kitchen bin, I suppose. But it was...
That's true.
It was in the TV, so anyway...
That's the Scottish Big Brother contingent.
Yeah, that's, some of them at least. Anyway, what's your first story this episode?
Well, it's the Swally Spooktacular this week, Greg. So, this is from this is from Aberdeen Live, last week. When I saw this headline, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of that, I think. Money-saving Aberdeen witch casts bizarre spell on pal's ex by setting doll with pins in the crotch on fire. So, this is a witch from Aberdeen who cast a money-saving spell claiming it helped her save up to £5,000 in 6 weeks to move house. And she shares tips online on how to be a witch and how to budget on social media. She says that she's even conducted a spell on her friend's ex-boyfriend to stop him from getting erections with his new partner. That's just a bit unfair, really. Alexa Thompson, a 33-year-old baking company owner who lives in Aberdeen, has been practising witchcraft her entire life after growing up in a pagan household. despite being bullied for it in her younger years. She has recently dabbled in protection spells to seek revenge on her friend's ex-boyfriend, who allegedly was not showing up to see his children, and was instead seeing his new partner. She commanded that until he becomes a better dad, he won't be able to get it up. And made a small doll out of grass with pins through its crotch, head and heart. While doing the spell, she set the figure on fire and put the blackened doll on his doorstep. And since then, she claims that her friend's ex-boyfriend has improved his behaviour. Alexa also specialises in frugal spells. Earlier this year, she wanted to move nearer to her sister and nephew, so she conducted a money-saving spell. 6 weeks later, she said she had £5,000 in savings and an apartment lined up. She hasn't shared how she did this, though, because I'd quite like to find out how she managed to do this. So she's been posting spells on Witch Talk, which is when witches post about spells, potions, and their day-to-day life on TikTok. She thinks that people are less judgmental about her identifying as a witch, particularly when dating, which she says proves that witches have come a long way since being burnt at the stake. Alexa said, "So a friend of mine was getting a really hard time from her ex, who's the father of our kids. She came to see me really upset, saying he keeps not showing up with the kids in favour of going to see his new girlfriend. I said, leave it with me. So I made a wee doll and put pins through the crotch, head and heart, and I did a spell saying that until he becomes a better dad, he won't be able to get it up. While doing this spell, I set fire to the doll with a candle flame so it was all blackened, and I put it on his doorstep in the evening. I wouldn't say it was a curse. I'd say it was a protection spell towards my friend. It didn't cost me anything either. That's where the frugalness comes in, I guess. The doll was made from grass from my garden, and after that, he started being a lot better towards my friend and the children." So Alexa has been practicing witchcraft her entire life. She explains that her granddad taught her to do witchcraft, and that her parents and little cousins also practice, and they see ghosts. She says she remembers being bullied quite a bit for a kid, which is ironic because the kids that bullied her in high school are now the ones that come to ask her for tarot card readings. So yeah, she said she saved up this money. She was foraging herbs and she grows things herself, and that's how she managed to save all the money. And she put pennies in a terracotta jar, sprinkled them with prosperity herbs, and lit a candle asking for what I want. In a pinch, I recommend things like Italian mixed herbs because they have all the essential herbs needed for a spell like this. So if you can't grow your own magic herbs, just nip to Morrison's, get a pot of Italian mixed herbs, and that'll do just the job. So she said that the spell managed to kick her up the butt and save the money. She said, but you have to work for it. You can't ask for more money and expect to win the lottery without buying a ticket, or for love and not swipe right on Tinder. So Alexa has been posting about her spells on her social media since 2018, amassing 56,000 followers. Wow. She said, I created it to get all of the thoughts and spells out of my head, and I've always got a lot of comments and questions about my prosperity spell since the cost of living crisis. So that is Alexa, the witch, who put a voodoo doll of her friend's ex to stop him getting it up. You know, that's...
Does she?
I thought it was a bit of a.
Does she live alone?
Halloween.
Do we think? Has she got a significant other?
Doesn't say. It doesn't say actually if she has. She does say that people are more open to dating witches,
right?
Because they've come a long way since being burnt at the stake. So I don't know. But there's a photo of her, and then there's a photo of the doll that she'd burnt, made out of grass, and then there's a photo of like 2 cow skulls and a couple of blocks of chocolate on a plate, and some candles with some burnt things and some teeth by the looks of things. So it's all very spooky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't really know what to say. I mean, I don't... Like, she's made this doll to sort of get back at her friend's ex-boyfriend. My first thought is, whether you're a witch or not, none of your fucking business. Why? Why are you getting involved? Why are you sticking your nose in? Why are you making dolls out of grass and setting them on fire and putting them on his doorstep? You know what I mean? And
why is there's pins in the crotch, in the heart, in the head? You know, why is that the...
I don't know.
I'd be interested to know why those 3 areas. Obviously the crotch, because she did the spell so you wouldn't be able to get it up. But I don't know, is it because the heart and the head, thinking about...
You need all these...
Think about your kids.
Or maybe because you need your heart and your head to be like aligned in order order to achieve
get an erection,
achieve arousal. You know what I mean? If you especially if you're a bit older. If your mind starts to wander, you know what I mean? It's not as, it's not the same as when you're a young guy and it just literally, all you got to do is snap your fingers and you're ready to go,
Yeah, just like at it like Thanos when he was younger.
Yeah, exactly. I've sort of, we've said in the Swally before, I'm very much, if that's what you believe and that's how you want to live your life, it's not for me to cast scorn upon you, although I might a little bit, but still, yeah, nothing against how people live their lives. I just find it a bit weird. I find like in 2023, I understand people being religious because it's most religions are huge things involving lots of people. These sort of more niche things like witchcraft, with all so much about science and stuff these days, and people still believe that making a wee doll out of grass and sticking pins in its bollocks, setting it on fire is going to have an impact on a human being. When you hear it explained like that, it sounds a bit like bollocks, doesn't it? I'm
not venturing down into that territory, Greg, because before we know it, I'm going to open my door and there'll be a little doll made out of grass. I mean, I live in Amsterdam. I'd hope it was a different type of grass, maybe, all blackened and with pins in various places. Yeah. So I'm pleading the fifth on that one and not getting involved.
Fair enough.
I think Alexa can do whatever she likes, and good luck to her.
All right. Well, good luck to Alexa and to all her witchy endeavours.
Okay, Greg. What else have you seen this week?
So my next one then is from the Scottish Sun on the 24th of October. The headline reads, "My dad's dog chewed up my passport just days before I was due to fly to the Rugby World Cup final." So this is Ellis McLeod. Her and her dad forked out nearly £2,000 to head to Paris on Saturday to see South Africa take on New Zealand in the Rugby World Cup final. But after hearing her, the pet dog Ashley, tearing away at what she thought was a toy, she was horrified to find it was in fact the wee dog ripping apart her travel documents, otherwise known as a passport. It's just a written passport there. Ellis is from Dundee. She called the passport office, but she was told a new document would probably not arrive in time for her to fly to the French capital. Images show the HR advisor's passport with 2 large bite marks from the 1-year-old pup and torn pages. Gutted, Ellis said, "I had my passport out. It was high on my dresser, so I would remember to pack it when I heard Ashley tearing something up. I'd figured it was just a toy, as I thought there wasn't anything important lying around. I laughed at first until it dawned on me that I was going to Paris in a week." Ellis had to watch the final at home with a wee dog and her own dog, whose name is Louis, but she said the trip cost £1,800. "Rugby's the only sport I follow religiously. I'm now hoping to go to Australia for the World Cup in 2027 as long as my passport remains intact." I mean, there's a picture of wee Ashley here. Looks like a lovely wee dog. Hard to be annoyed at a wee dog like that. Hard to be annoyed at a dog's. A dog's going to do what a dog's going to do. If you leave your passport lying out, you sort of you're taking your life in your hands. Bobby ever destroyed anything important?
Bobby's never destroyed anything at all. Amazingly, so lucky with that dog, because we got him when he was 1 and he was a rescue. And you obviously hear all these stories. He never, even his toys, he loves his cuddly toys. He's so gentle with them and playing with them. They hardly ever any, occasionally there might be a tiny little rip, which I'll sew or something, but never destroyed anything. And he'll never even, you take something new into the house, he'll sniff it, but he won't grab it. Even a toy for him, I have to physically hand it to him and let him know it's his, and then he'll go and play with it, but he'll never touch anything at all. It's amazing.
What a good boy.
Got so lucky. Yeah, so lucky with him. So no, but I can understand. I mean, if you've got a puppy, then of course they are tempted to chew things. And a passport is probably quite hard and chewy, so it's going to be fair game. They're going to be delighted with it. Yeah. So
I mean, I'm looking at the picture of her passport. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think as long as the wee electronic strip isn't damaged, I feel like you might get away with it, you know?
No, even if there's a tiny little rip on one page of your passport, you won't be allowed to travel. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You have to be really, really careful with it.
Well, you got to go. Be careful. I've not had a dog for a long time, but growing up, we always had dogs. I remember my stepdad's old black Labrador, who he called Monty. He was a right rogue. There was like a blind guy who used to walk around their neighbourhood with his guide dog and be forever finding Monty trying to mount this poor guy's blind, this poor guy's guide dog. But I remember when we were getting our double glazing put in, my mum made sort of sandwiches and food for all the guys, and it was the summer, so they were in the garden having sandwiches and things, and the apprentice was standing eating a sandwich, and Monty just jumped up like fucking Jaws and took the sandwich right out of his hand. My mother was mortified, but still, you know, dog's gonna do what a dog's gonna do.
Exactly. Yeah, can't blame the dog. So, and as you say, you can't be too upset with it for doing what it's going to do. It's a shame you're out of pocket, and it's a shame you didn't get to go to the World Cup final. But never mind. You'll next time maybe get like a little travel wallet. And put the passport in.
Just to leave it lying about. And anyway, you and I know that rugby's rubbish anyway. You probably did your wee favourite there. You know?
Again, I'm going to plead the fifth on that, Greg, and not say anything. I don't want to upset any listeners, so it's not for me. But no.
Anyway, that's Ashley the dog, the passport muncher. What's your next story this week?
My next story comes from the Daily Record this week, Greg, and it's about a fuming Scots resident who leaves passive-aggressive note for a mystery musician. So, a fed-up resident has plastered a street with a passive-aggressive note hitting out at a serenading musician. The letter was posted on all doors along Lorne Street in Edinburgh this week and is addressed to the trumpeter who moved into a flat here in July and has been playing disturbing, dissonant music every lunchtime since. In the sarcastic letter, the fuming neighbour writes, "You are very talented, yes, but please be aware that your daily practice can be heard by every person in the courtyard of our buildings. 100 plus people, some of which work at home and would like not to be forced to listen to your chromatic scales reverbing off the walls and into the brains every time they are having lunch." The note continues, "Please also consider chronically ill people who are in their beds, already in enough pain. Babies, night shift workers trying to sleep, lethers, already demented from the sound of the never-ending tram works." The post gathered plenty of attention online, with residents arguing both sides concerning the issue of the mystery trumpeter. Some have commented that it would be unreasonable and pretty excessive to expect the person to soundproof a room, and also insanely expensive. One poster wrote, "If you don't like other people's noise, go live in a fucking bungalow for a start. No a stair. Playing an instrument's a wonderful talent." Others commented that they were lucky it was lunchtime and the mystery trumpeter played the instrument better than the middle of the night. A few people joked, "I am the trumpeter." So that is the poor. The guy's obviously just doing a trumpet, playing his talent and trying to practice, but obviously someone's had enough. I know during lockdown, I was obviously working from home all the time, and there was someone in our building, I don't know where or who it was, that was obviously learning the piano. And it was the same, every lunchtime around about 2:00, you would hear them practicing Hello by Lionel Richie. And this went on for months. Always the same song. And he got better as the months went on. He started, it was just the piano, and then I could hear him singing along. And then towards the end, he was doing the whole song. Okay. But he never did anything else. Just Hello. And then he just stopped. So I don't know if he was like, right, I've mastered that. Yeah. Fuck this, I'll pack it in now. So, but that's the only time I'm bothered by anyone with like music. But of course, your daughter plays the bass. Does that? How noisy is that? Or does she use headphones? No, is she?
It can be quite noisy, but it doesn't bother me because she's learning to play the bass. Do you know what I mean? It's just like. It's a great thing to be able to play a musical instrument. I mean, I was more tickled by the beginning of the article where you said the trumpeter was playing sort of dissonant music. I had a sort of vision in my mind of him playing like sort of melancholy and sort of melancholy songs, or or maybe he's doing like the last thing at night or something like that. Just to sort of kind of amuse and affect people. But it sounds like he's just the guy. I mean, the guy's probably in the fucking Scottish National Orchestra or something like that. That's why he got to practice.
And I think if any time you're going to do it, lunchtime's, fair enough. People are, okay, they might be in meetings or something. And I can see, okay, night shift workers, but then, what are you supposed to do? Not make noise at any time. He's entitled to do it. So fair play to him. Say the guy's practicing a talent.
I don't think, like when we were kids, there would have been a lot more night shift workers because there would have been sort of 24-hour plants, 24-hour factories and things. These days, probably the only sort of 24-hour workers will be like NHS people and taxi drivers, right?
Probably drug dealers and prostitutes as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose that they need their sleep as well, right? Maybe even more so.
Yeah, you're fair enough. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Anyway, but that is the mystery trumpeter of
in
Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So, have you seen anything else this week?
No, that's all I've got. You get anything else?
The only other thing, it's a quick 2-line article. It is from the Dumbarton and Vale of Leven Reporter, and I just like the headline: Driver on A82 near Carrick Golf Club, metal dealing. A man has been arrested for operating as a metal dealer without a licence. Oh. The 50-year-old was stopped in a van on the A82 near Garrett Golf Club. He was reportedly found not to have an MOT nor a licence for metal dealing. He also had a defective handbrake.
Oh dear. So
he will attend court at a later date. So who knew that metal dealing was a criminal activity? Yeah. Didn't realise that at all. You need a licence to sell metal.
I did not know that. No, there you go.
Well, there you go. If you're back in Scotland and you're trying to sell metal, then you need a licence.
Yes,
Okay. Right, well, before we go on to what we're going to be talking about on our Swally Spooktacular today, let's have a little word from our sponsors. And our sponsor on this episode is Doric Skateboards. Doric Skateboards is a skateboard brand created by Gary Kemp, whose main focus is to explore the people and culture of Aberdeen and the northeast of Scotland, and to create designs that reflect that area. Doric Skateboards screen print their own decks in their studio by Gary's fair hand, and they produce some amazing designs over the years, including an Annie Lennox inspired board, a Robert the Bruce deck, and a Plenty of Pop deck inspired by the old Bonaccord trucks that used to drive around Aberdeen delivering fizzy drinks. Doric Skateboards also replicate these amazing designs onto their clothing on 100% organic cotton tees, hoodies and sweatshirts, and you can fill your boots on stickers, pin badges, beanies, caps and a whole lot more. Gary regularly collaborates with local artists to ensure he brings the latest designs to the market, but always with a Doric twist, including their amazing new Northfield Tower design. Check out Doric Skateboards for yourself on doricskateboards.com and follow them on Instagram at Doric Skateboards to see the amazing designs that they have on offer. And we are delighted to be able to offer you 15% off as listeners to this podcast. All you need to do is head to doricskateboards.com, have a look at the amazing decks, stickers, badges, hoodies, tees and hats, everything they have on offer, and enter the promo code SWALLY. That's SWALLY, all in block capitals. Same with the name of this podcast to get your 15% off. That's doricskateboards.com.
So it was your turn to pick for the Culture Swally Spooktacular. So what are we talking about today?
Thank you very much, Greg. Well, yes, exactly as you've said, as it's Halloween, or well, it's just past, I'd like to look at the 2014 horror film Let Us Pray. It comes from Irish director Brian O'Malley, and it was mostly filmed in Ireland, but it's very much set in Scotland with a predominant Scottish cast, so it counts as a Swally film. It definitely counts as a Scottish film. Because I read a lot of stuff online about Irish film. I'm like, no, it's definitely Scottish. It definitely counts. So, starring Liam Cunningham, who has been on the Swally before in Dog Soldiers, Pollyanna Macintosh, who was in last year's Swally Spooktacular on White Settlers, and for some reason I keep wanting to say White Settlers whenever I'm referring to this film, and I blame Pollyanna Macintosh for it. Jonathan Watson, Bryan Larkin, Douglas Russell, and Hanna Stanbridge, amongst others. It tells the story of Rachel, a rookie cop about to begin her first shift in a small Scottish police station in a small town. But when a mysterious stranger arrives in town, all hell breaks loose. So, Greg, you mentioned in the last episode you'd never even heard of this film before. So how was your first viewing of Let Us Pray?
I did enjoy the film. I watched it twice. If I'm being honest, I enjoyed it more the second time than the first time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's a wee bit, I don't know, the beginning of it is just fantastic. When we see Liam Cunningham's character, who is known as Six in the sort of cast listing, it's shot so it looks as though he sort of emerges from this angry sea and starts walking towards the town. I thought, fucking hell, we're in for an absolutely brilliant experience here. And then it's sort of I think we'll get into the detail. It sort of flounders a wee bit, I think, in setting up setting the scene. But when it gets going, when the wheels start to come off and everything else, it's really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Good. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it was the second viewing. I watched it twice as well. And I totally agree with you. In the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, we're in for a treat here. This looks good. And I agree. I did get a little bit bored in maybe, 25 minutes in or so. Like I did find myself maybe looking at my phone and thinking, okay, right, what's happening? And then, then it just goes absolutely fucking batshit crazy. Yeah. And you're like, okay, I'm in for this. And I would agree. The second viewing, I watched it to make my notes, but I was very focused because I think I knew what was coming. So I'm like, okay, need to focus on this and to get into this. So, like I say, it could be argued. It's an Irish film, Irish director. Of course, Liam Cunningham's in it to begin with. And mostly filmed in Ireland, but it's definitely Scottish film. Definitely Scottish. And it's not scary as such. I mean, it's very intense and it's very gory as well in parts. And I think the first half does do quite a good job of building up the tension and uncertainty of what's happening. And then, like I said, the last 25 minutes is just absolutely fucking bananas. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I think the one the thing that sort of, I'm not going to say ruined it for me because it didn't ruin it for me, but it sort of jarred me a little bit in the beginning was the actor Bryan Vernal, who plays Caesar. Because his first, I made a note when I was watching it, because I made my notes the first time and then I made some more notes the second time I watched it. And I made a note saying, is Bryan Vernal just been allowed to fucking say his own lines, like make up his own lines? Because I mean, I've seen him in a few things and he's had quite a successful career. I mean, he's in Star Wars. He's in Star Wars, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Yeah. And amongst a lot of other things. But, I shouldn't say this because I am no actor, but he's not a very good actor.
Not in this, I would say. No, I don't think there's... Yeah. But he's playing a little Ned, effectively, so does he have to be, really? But yeah, there are... I don't know, there's a few lines that are okay that he comes away with when he's being cheeky and stuff, when he's asking for, like, is that you with a cup of tea? I saw some bourbon creams up there, and then that's when he sees Six coming in and his face kind of drops. But I thought he was okay. But yeah, maybe possibly the weak link of the film because the rest of the cast are very strong, I would say.
I mean, there's at one point it refers to the village police as 5-0.
That jarred me a little bit. I was like, I wouldn't have thought, especially in 2014, that you would, what is he? Well, he's still in school, so what, he's 17? 16, 17?
Something like that.
So he's not going to be familiar with Hawaii 5-0 or calling cops 5-0. He's going to be calling them pigs or the filth.
Yeah.
Around about that time.
Because the thing is, he's supposed to have been involved in this horrendous accident before we join him, where he's hit the wee girl walking along the road. Mm-hmm. But he's not really acting like somebody who has ran two people over by accident, because his reaction in both cases is like his immediate reaction in both instances of hitting people is, oh fuck, oh no, and guilt, remorse, regret, and then he's fucking wisecracking away about bourbons and the 5-0.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's it, because you can get away with it thinking that, because he's knocked down Six, and that's the first thing he says when he gets out of the car, oh, not another one. And okay, Six has vanished, so he thinks he's gotten away with that. But surely you would still be feeling guilty and remorseful knowing you've just ran over one of your classmates earlier.
Exactly.
But he doesn't seem to be fazed by it at all, really.
Until he sort of reckons with Six later on in the film.
So, I mean, I think this is it's a very contained film. It's basically just set in the police station, effectively the whole time, really. And I love a film like that that's very contained in a claustrophobic environment. Very heavily influenced, in my opinion, by John Carpenter.
Yeah, exactly.
This type of film, because it's Assault on Precinct 13, and there's such a beautiful kind of synth soundtrack to it as well that is just very Carpenter-esque. That I really enjoyed that element because big fan of John Carpenter. But it was nice to see that element being brought into it, and you could see the kind of influence, I think, on the director. Yeah,
sort of. Although the assault, I guess, is sort of from within the police station, you know. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. I mean, my first thought was assault on Precinct 13, because I thought, well, what's going to happen here is, are they going to have to be trying to keep 6 out of the police station, you know what I mean, or something like that, and you can get the prisoners involved and everything else. But you know, when I saw him in the scene when he's brought in to the police station, when Hanna Stanbridge and what's the other guy, the other police officer, bring him into the station, and you know, because they find him wandering around, I was like, all right, what's going to happen? You know, so like that. I think it was at that point that the film sort of really got its hook into me, because I thought that I knew what was gonna. I knew what would happen. You know, I thought, like, this will happen, and then he'll do that, and then she'll do that, and blah blah blah. And then when he comes into the station, and Sergeant McCready starts acting really weird, and you know, and kind of buggers off, and then the doctor starts acting odd and everything else, and you start to get the flashbacks to PC Monday and PC Warnock sort of beating the suspect up in the interview room and things. I was like, right, so this is where the horror elements are going to start to come in, you know?
So yeah, so it is, I mean, it's a small cast in terms of the contained environment, so you effectively the premise of the story is that you have Pollyanna Macintosh as PC Rachel Heggie, and it's her first day at this new small police station. On her way there, she sees Caesar running down this guy, Six, but Six disappears. She takes Caesar into the police station, meets Sergeant McCready, then the other 2 officers are there as well. You know, they end up taking Six there, and then we go to the cells and meet the people that are there. I mean, initially it's just Jonathan Watson as Mr. Bessick, but then later on the doctor joins them, and then it's very much the contained element of the police station and just the people that are in there, which I think works well. But I agree, the flashback element of when Six is there, because you're not sure what this guy is and who he is and what the situation is. But when they start having these flashbacks, as you say, you're kind of like, okay, now I get it. And I think that's a very good way of them doing it, that you get to see effectively what all these people have done and why they're there. Yeah. And that's when you're getting the inkling, okay, so is Six here to effectively avenge and collect? And, you know, what is he doing here? And especially when Sergeant McCready says to him, you know, do his fingerprints and say, so you're Alexander Monroe, you died in 1983, age 79. Yeah. But, you know, he's very much there. So you know there's a supernatural element to him.
Yeah. And Liam Cunningham's great, actually, as well. I mean, he's, like, as you mentioned before, we'd had him, he was on a Swally when we did Dog Soldiers, which I think was 2 years ago now. We did Dog Soldiers, is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe our first Halloween Spooktacular. And he, you know, he's not, he doesn't have, like, a lot of lines until, you know, sort of maybe like the last kind of 10, 15 minutes of the film, you know, when he, you know, he's sort of explaining who he is without explaining who he is exactly. And then the little moments when he sort of keeps appearing to Sergeant McCready when he's off doing his fucking sinister, dastardly things, and in the process of which fucking losing his grip before he comes back to the police station. He's great. And the thing is, for Liam Cunningham, the year before he filmed this, he got arguably his biggest part, which was in the second series of Game of Thrones, which he was in until the very end, you know? And he's, you know, this is obviously quite a low budget film, although they do have, considering it's a low budget film, they do have quite a lot of acting horsepower in the shape of Pollyanna Macintosh, Liam Cunningham, and the actor who plays Sergeant McCready, Douglas Russell, who, when I was looking at his IMDb, he's been in fucking hundreds and hundreds of things. Yeah. You know, so for it to come back and, you know, he's playing the lead, he's completely sinister. He does a great job, I think, of you're not sure whether he is a good guy or a bad guy, until the very end when it's sort of revealed exactly who he is. He's fantastic.
Yeah. And I listened to an interview with the director, and he said, like, when he got the original script, the character of Six was meant to be a lot more talkative and cocky, as you would expect, I guess, who he is would be like. I'm thinking about, I guess, like the TV show Reaper, for example. Yeah. The character in that is very kind of cocky and talkative, and whereas the director had Liam Cunningham in mind for the role, and said, no, we need to strip this back.
Yeah.
And I think it works so much better the way that he is. It's exactly as you say. You're not sure if he's actually a good guy or a bad guy, what's going on with him, what's happening here, because he's talking to all the prisoners and almost trying to get them to admit or get to the bottom of why they've done what they've done and understand. So you're kind of like, okay, whose side is he on? What is he doing here? And at the end of the day, I mean, there's no real huge twist in the film.
No.
Well, you could say at the end, but it's simply a case of Six is just coming to collect the souls of the sinners.
Yeah, exactly. And, even give Caesar a chance to sort of come clean with, and admit what he's done and everything. And, he's the only one in the cells who has got like a slight chance of redemption with Six if he just owns up to what he's done and sort of accepts responsibility for it and allows himself to face justice. But obviously Caesar's too much of a fucking coward to do it. And he is dispatched pretty fucking grimly, isn't he?
Well, to be fair, I think he does get through to Caesar, because Caesar does try to tell Mundy about what's happened. She ignores him when they come in to grab the doctor.
That's right.
And then, of course, that's the next 10 minutes. And then by the time he tells Rachel about it, it's too late.
Too late, yeah.
If he told her. And we do see when Sergeant McCready is driving home to empty his fridge, we do see that he passes the body on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So he could have seen her and stopped as well. So Caesar could have maybe been retributed there and maybe got off with it. But yeah, I do think that Six is quite fair when he's saying that to Caesar. Of, you have time, we can still redeem you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay, we can just, spoiler if you haven't seen this, but that we spoil everything. So Six is the devil, effectively. Now, so do we think that this movie is set in purgatory? Because he's obviously orchestrated, and he does say pretty much as much towards the end, that he's orchestrated for all those people to be there at that time, so you can do this. Because they're the only people we see and interact with in the film. Like the entire town is empty. Like you see the pub empty, the petrol station, shop, nobody's there. The only people we see are the main players and the girl that Caesar kills. So, and the guy that McCready kills, of course, in his house. So, are we led to believe that this is purgatory, effectively?
I mean,
and he's orchestrated for them all to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It's quite an interesting sort of theory. But then for it to be purgatory, then they've all died already, right? And this is it. So I think that's where maybe that's sort of kind of twist that a little bit. Yeah, I mean. This is good at, I mean, it could be. The thing is, though, with, what's his name? With Sergeant McCready, for him to, he's the one who's like the most affected initially by the arrival of the Six, and he's the one who sees him. He's the one that sort of, when he's in the house and and when he's back in his house and he's getting the body out of his fridge, he's the one who sort of sees Six out the corner of his eye, like where Liam Cunningham sort of turns up with kind of ping pong balls over his for his eyes. And it's just, it sort of leads to, and he says something to McCready that makes McCready have to leave the police station and go home to get the body out of his fridge, doesn't he? So,
well, they have the whole talk about religion, and it's more of the vision at that point that makes him go. Because he does say, they're talking about religion, and he says to Six, so you don't believe in God? And Six says, I didn't say that, but I would like a fucking word.
Yeah.
Then is when McCready kind of sees the vision of the bin bags by the door.
Yeah.
And that freaks him out, and that's when he, decides to go.
Something in common. We're both Christian men.
Except you're more of an Old Testament kind of guy, aren't you? The blood and the vengeance. The sweat. And the spunk. I can smell it.
say you don't remember that one from Sunday school.
Neither do I, but then I jumped ship.
So you don't believe in God?
Didn't say that. But I would like a fucking word.
Because Macready kind of becomes the sort of instrument of Six's retribution to a large extent, doesn't he? Because he kills Caesar, he kills Warnock, he inadvertently kills Monday, doesn't he?
I don't think it inadvertently. He does slam her neck.
Oh yeah,
down
I did
with a shotgun.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he does kill her. Yeah, you're right. I thought he sort of tripped her or whatever.
I mean, she was pretty much dead. No, well, because he shoots the water canister, and then when she's running on the chair, she slips on the chair.
That's right. Yeah.
So he does kind of cause.
Yeah.
And then jams her head with the shotgun.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll come on to the end, I think, short.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to talk about in the last 20 minutes of fucking brilliant scenes. To talk about the cast, I mean, I think we've done Liam Cunningham as Six. You know, he's playing the stranger comes to town. He's playing the devil, effectively, and he's come to collect the souls of all these people at the police station. So we kind of see the focus initially through Pollyanna Macintosh's character, Rachel. So she's, you know, her story's never kind of explained as to why she's ended up in this town. Because Macready does say at one point, you know, there's a reason you were sent here to me. And that's when I thought, okay, Six has orchestrated this somehow in terms of getting her there. Now, she is police constable, but her flashbacks, we see her being abused as a girl. She was kidnapped and held hostage in this room and abused by this, you know, horrible guy. And you see her kind of coming to terms. So you're kind of waiting to see if there was something else that she did, but no. Effectively, as we go on through the film, we find out that it was Six that kind of saved her when she was a kid and she was able to escape. And she's obviously lived with this, gone into the police force, and she's a pretty straight-laced cop in terms of, you know, her work. But and the other police officers aren't too happy with her being here.
Yeah, for sure. And she's, you know, there's a scene at the beginning where she sort of wakes up. We sort of see her wake up for the night shift and the black feathers in her bed. And she's, you know, she's been dreaming about her experiences as a child, her, you know, the trauma that she experienced as a kid that you just described. And then, you know, she gets a uniform on and gets herself down to the station. But yeah.
So the director had mentioned that in his opinion, the greatest action hero of all time is Lieutenant Ellen Ripley.
Right.
And that's why I think Rachel is kind of based heavily on Ripley in terms of being a badass and, you know, and there's no, what I really liked about this as well is, because it could have gone down this route, there's no sexualization, you would say.
Yeah.
Like, you see her, towards the end, she's in her vest, and it would have been easy for it to be, oh, I need to just get into this skimpy vest. But it's more of a necessity. She's been hit.
Yeah.
She needs to tie off a tourniquet, and there's no lingering kind of sexual shots. No. It's more of a, this girl's a fucking badass. She looks fucking great in that vest. She's ripped. She's going to fucking smash some heads in. And the character holds her own so well. The fights that she's in, when she smashes the doctor in the face with a nightstick, you're like, fucking brilliant. Yeah. And there's a couple of great bits. The fight she has with Warnock and Mundy as well. Like, she just absolutely leathers Mundy with a headbutt. Yeah. And it's fucking brilliant to see. Yeah, a real badass character though, you know, but I guess she's been through that trauma at a young age, so she's probably dedicated her life since then to making sure she's never going to find herself in a situation like that ever again. So she's going to be able to handle herself and then dedicate her life to police force.
Yeah, for sure. And she's a good physical actress, Pollyanna Macintosh, anyway. You know, like when we did White Settlers last year, she's got some good bits in that where she's sort of fighting these guys off. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. It's completely believable in terms of, you know, I believe it's not like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a bad example. Like, I'm probably not going to believe like Margot Robbie doing no, I would actually, because she's obviously done Harley Quinn and stuff. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, in the wrong...
I know what you mean.
In the hands of a wrong actress, you know, it could look a little bit forced, but I actually really believe Pollyanna Macintosh. She's good. Because she's got the good frame for it as well, and she's just, really strong.
She's also good at conveying a sort of sense of vulnerability as well. Yeah. So, you know, even in White Settlers, you know, obviously she's just a regular sort of 30-something woman that's moved into a house, you know what I mean? In this, you know, she's got her police training and everything else, but she still displays a vulnerability in this, which makes which makes the moments when she has to defend herself, the fights with the Doctor and Monday and Warnock, and then later on with McCready and everything, they're sort of like more satisfying to us as a viewer, because it's always satisfying when a vulnerable character sort of fights back and successfully fights back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is for her as well, I mean, that she's sort of she's as an actress, she seems to be doing quite well in the States now, ever since she did The Walking Dead. And I did like her in The Walking Dead. I thought the storyline was a bit ridiculous. Like only a few years after this zombie apocalypse, this society has evolved and has got its own language, its own way of talking and everything. I thought it was pretty fucking stupid. But she was like compelling as the kind of leader. I forget the name. I forget the name of the group.
Yeah, it's the people that live in like the the trash men or something.
The scrapyard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they got a license to live in that scrapyard. But she's compelling, because she's a very attractive woman, but not in a kind of conventional sort of way. She's got a certain look about her. She's got that kind of physicality about her. And she's obviously a very good actress. I mean, she was even great in Bob Servant, So, and this was a big year for her. She did Filth, White Settlers, and Let Us Pray, all sort of kind of back to back.
No, she's brilliant. I really liked her in this. And I really liked her in White Settlers. And as you say, I liked her in Bob Servant and Filth as well. She's brilliant in as the Size Queen. No, she's a great actress and obviously become the Swally Scream Queen.
She has,
by being in the back-to-back horrors.
Her latest film is called Apocalypse Clown. I don't think it's a Scottish film though, so I don't think we'll be able to do it for the...
Oh, is she in that?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't realise. I've been waiting to see that because David Earl plays one of the clowns in that. He's in like Afterlife and Derek and stuff and Brian and Charles. I'll look forward to seeing that because I really like him. A great character, I think, as Rachel Heggie. And we'll come on to the end when we speak about the final scenes, and then we speak about the scene with her in 6, but I think it's a very touching scene and all comes round kind of full circle.
Yeah.
The other kind of main person in the police station is Douglas Russell, who plays Sergeant Jim McCready. Basically, the introduction to him is Rachel sees her into the police station and we see that he's watching porn on the computer. Did you see the quick flash of that?
I did see a quick flash.
It's like a man in a jockstrap. He's hiding, obviously, a very dark secret. He's got body parts in his fridge. He's ultra religious and ultra Catholic and lives his life by the Bible. He wears a cross around his neck, but he's evidently gay.
Yeah.
And he is, I presume, sleeping with these men and then kind of taking the anger out on them at what he's done.
Yeah.
Because he can't come to terms with the fact that he is a homosexual, and he's then just battering the fuck out of all these guys.
Yep, well, beating them to death, essentially, isn't he? He does his little sexy underpants dance and then just, like, leathers the poor guy on his bed, doesn't he?
Yeah. And I think that scene is so harrowing in terms of when he's just beating the fuck out of the guy, because
it's the noise. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's it's that meaty, with sort of meaty slaps and punch noises.
You got to imagine someone's punching like a pig carcass or something to get that noise, but horrible noise, the brutality, and it's because also you don't kind of see it. The way it cuts quite quickly, and you've got the door frame in the way, so some of the punches you don't see them actually landing, and then the next one you see landing, and it's just really effectively cut, and it's really harrowing, that scene. And then, of course, then he kind of disappears for the next half hour, but then, oh boy, does he come back in a big way at the end.
For sure. Yeah, and the thing is, I thought to myself, one thing that maybe could have been played better is, what is the thing that makes him snap and come back to the police station or arms to the teeth? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of not really explained in a way, because you see him on the phone to Rachel.
Yeah.
And then he just appears, obviously.
Because we see all there's like a handful of missing persons sort of posters on the bulletin board in the police station, and I think the implication is later on in the film, the implication is that he's responsible for all these missing people.
Definitely.
So I think it would have been good to maybe like an extra few minutes just really showing his mind really snapping and and drag, because you would think that the easiest thing to do for him would just be to fuck off. So I get the body parts, get in his car, get rid of the body parts somewhere and just disappear. But he's compelled to come back and essentially commit a mass shooting at the police station and kill his colleagues and the prisoners in the cells and the kind of down below. Maybe like a few more sort of exponential minutes, just sort of showing him. They're showing some kind of catalyst that makes them sort of wig out,
You're completely right. I know we're a big fan of, hey, if we can get it to like 90 minutes or so, then we're happy with that. I think this is an hour and 32 minutes.
Yeah.
So I could have done with like another 3 minutes or so, you're right, to go into what Macready, exactly as you say, what drove him to actually snap? Because we know he's an unhinged individual anyway, but something must have made him go, right, fuck it. I'm going to go and go Terminator style on the police station and my colleagues.
I thought it might be that he wanted to come and murder 6, but obviously if he was going to murder 6, he couldn't just walk in and kill them, walk out again. He'd have to kill all the witnesses as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be it.
So then the other 2 police officers, Hanna Stanbridge as Mundy and Bryan Larkin as Warnock.
Yeah.
Other 2 constables, they're obviously having an affair. They have a history of beating up witnesses and killing, suspects.
Yeah.
Not nice individuals, and they're not very welcoming to Rachel either.
No.
But yeah, you just get the impression that they're, horrible individuals.
Yeah. But Mundy does keep up her pelvic floor exercises, so,
yes.
That's what it's all about.
She does indeed.
Yeah.
She does indeed. But yeah, so they're, not very nice individuals. But there's not really a huge amount of story with them either. They they obviously find the doctor's family dead, but effectively they're having an affair, and then, they have this fight later on with Rachel, and then they kill the doctor, and then effectively conspire to blame it all on Rachel. Have the fight, but and you get the impression they're going to take her out, and then they might take out Macready as well.
Yeah,
like if he comes in, because they're just going to say that there was a big fight and everyone died apart from them, effectively.
Not necessarily a foolproof plan, I don't think, on their part.
No. Anyway, they don't manage to get away with it effectively and meet their demise. But again, we'll talk about that when we come to the final face-off. So then I guess to talk about the prisoners. So we've kind of spoken about Caesar, I would say. Brian Vernal playing Caesar, a kind of young joyrider who ends up knocking down a girl and then knocking down 6 and effectively pays for that later on. But when he gets into the cells, he is met with his teacher, Ralph Bessick, played by Jonathan Watson, in a strange kind of serious role. For Jonathan Watson. So I did watch an interview with the director and Pollyanna Macintosh. They were interviewed at a film festival. And the director said that he had cast Pollyanna and Liam as kind of the 2 leads effectively. But he was just he likes to watch what people have been in to get a gauge on them. Yeah. And he watched Bob Servant to watch Pollyanna in action. Yeah. And he said, and I just found this little guy hysterical. So Jonathan Watson is Frank. Yeah. So when it comes to filming and they're casting, someone mentioned Jonathan Watson's name. And the director was like, yes, I'll have him. Definitely. I want him in the film. So that's how he ended up, basically, because the director had watched Bob Servant. Strange character for him to play, but he's brilliant.
Yes, he is brilliant. And I think, for us, we've obviously grown up watching him in Naked Video and, Only an Excuse and 2 Doors Down and all the other things, where he's Bob Servant, of course, where he's he's essentially, his bread and butter is comedy acting. And he's one of the funniest people. Even in the sort of, 2 Doors Down is largely brilliant, but I think it's fair to say there's a couple of maybe weaker episodes in there, especially, which is, I think, is quite common with a lot of sitcoms as they sort of mature. They sort of gold dust is spread a little thinner on the later episodes than it is in the first couple of series. But there's always, in every single episode of 2 Doors Down, there's always a moment where Jonathan Watson cracks me up. Do you know what I mean? Like, always, even in those episodes that aren't quite as good as as some of the more classic ones, he's just really, really funny. And the only other time I've seen him do a sort of serious turn was in a post-McManus Taggart called Football Crazy, the series, the story's called, and it's like the film in Partick Thistle's grounds and stuff, and it's murder at a football club. I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear. And he's, I can't remember if he's the chairman or he's the team manager or whatever. They've obviously got him in because he did Only an Excuse and his connection with Scottish football, a little bit of cute casting. But yeah, he's absolutely fantastic in this. And, you know, when he starts to, you know, when Six sort of makes him crack and he starts to bang his head off the bars, and again, it's like the scene we spoke about a few moments ago when Macready is beating the guy up in his bedroom. You feel it, you know, like the sound effects, the way it's cut. It really, obviously Jonathan Watson wasn't smashing his head against the bars of the cell door in reality, but it really feels like he is. You know what I mean? It's filmed in such a way just to really make you uncomfortable and feel every kind of bounce of his forehead off the bar, you know? There's
a real trick to shooting a film like this, which is pretty gory, but it doesn't go too far into the gore territory. Like I was speaking to you just the other day, like I watched Evil Dead Rise last week. And that's super gory, but it's meant to be over the top gore. So, you know, it's meant to be ridiculous. But this, I think, does such a good way of showing, you know, for example, just as you said, Macready beating the guy, Watson banging his head, and we'll come on to some later on, you know, even when the doctor dies, it's not over the top. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think a lot of it is quite realistic, which makes it worse.
Yeah, it's more uncomfortable.
In my opinion. Yeah. Like I said to you, the worst thing about Evil Dead Rise is when the woman gets the cheese grater down the leg. That's because it's something we can all relate to. So I think they've done a really good job in terms of the way they've shot this, of the kind of violent elements. But you're right, it's so uncomfortable when he's banging his head.
The bit that made me squirm the most in this, and you'll think I'm making this up, but the thing that made me squirm the most is when Caesar breaks his fingernail off when he's...
No. I don't think you're making... No, I wouldn't. I thought you were making that up. It's horrible because, again, it's something we can all relate to.
Yeah.
Like, I can't relate to having my head rammed through a table leg or getting my face with a battering ram, but I can relate to, you know, breaking off a fingernail or something.
Yeah.
Like if I cut my nail down too low and it's sore for a couple of days, it's horrible pain, let alone the whole thing coming off. Oh, Jesus, no, it's horrible.
Yeah, eyes and fingernails just make me... you know.
So Jonathan Watson's character is teacher, but he's in there because he's been beating up his wife, and it seems like he's doing that all the time. Now I find that quite interesting in that why he's there, because you know what I'm about to say, like the rest of them have all committed murder. He hasn't committed murder. What he's doing is fucking deplorable, and could lead to murder, you know, eventually if he takes things too far. But he hasn't committed a murder, but obviously his crime is bad enough and deplorable enough for him to be in there and to be on Six's hit list.
Oh, for sure. You know, I mean, we're led to believe that this has been that he's a regular, and the wife always drops the charges the next day, which is something you hear a lot about in reports of sort of sustained, prolonged domestic abuse. The wives often will do that for whatever reason, you know. So I think there's a case to say that he deserves to be there among these guys, and it's, you know, and I like the sort of ambiguity around what makes him sort of snap. You know, when he starts smacking his head off the bars, is it a sort of self kind of flagellation? Has Six in his way got into his mind and made him remorseful when this is him punishing himself? Or is this him trying to get to Caesar just because he's obviously got issues with rage, which is maybe behind why he treats his wife so terribly? And I think it conveyed that his frustrations with being a teacher and the restraint he has to show in the classroom when there's kids like Caesar who maybe fucks around and makes it difficult for him to do his job, that frustration he then takes home and takes out on his wife. Do you know what I mean? And then this is him, you know, by hook or crook, he's going to get through these bars and get to Caesar and make him pay for making him the way he is. But obviously There's only so many times you can smack your head off a fucking iron bar before you're going to check out, you know?
Yeah, it's horrible. Absolutely horrible scene. Brutal death. And he's the first to die.
I was hoping for a Jonathan Watson not really dead. You know, like he's in the corner with a sheet over him. It'd been cool if we'd just seen him sort of sit up, kind of George Romero style, and actually we all thought he was dead, but he's not really, and he'd be the one that would fucking get hold of Caesar, you know?
And then I guess the last person really that we have is Dr. Hume, played by Niall Greg Fulton. Evil, horrible character.
Yeah.
In terms of the doctor that comes to patch up Six. He sees the vision that Six has showed him. He tries to attack Six and then gets thrown in the cells. But then, they go round to his house and find out that he's murdered his wife and kids. He's
like, so Sergeant McCready aside, he's like this kind of bona fide psychopath in the company. Do you know what I mean? He's, on the one hand, he's the trusted community doctor. You know, they call him out to, he's out to check on Six because Six he's been ran over, but he's got some cuts and bruises. He's not, he's not talking. He needs to be examined by a doctor, and he comes out and he's a very plausible, trusted community doctor. To your point, and then it turns out that behind that he's a complete psychopath that's murdered his family to try and find their souls within their body or something like that, you know?
Yeah, it's something about everlasting life. Or something in terms of the trick and cutting his son's top of his head off, effectively. But, not a great character. A great fight scene between him and Rachel, and then, of course, it's Warnock and McCready. Well, Warnock that effectively ends it, but you feel that Six has goaded him into doing that. In terms of
he's manipulated him, hasn't he?
Ramming. And gruesome death. His head gets rammed through a table leg, his eye, and quite a lot of force because it comes right at the back of his head. It does.
Let me ask you something. Do you think if this film came out in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, with the level of violence and gore, do you think it would be in the old video nasty list?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would say so. Because obviously nowadays we're like desensitized and stuff. But for example, I'd say there's a lot more gore and violence in this than there is in like Driller Killer. Yeah, for example.
I mean, I've never ever seen Driller Killer. The one that's good. It's good, is it? Or are you just good?
Yeah, I like Driller Killer. Yeah. No, genuinely, yeah. I remember enjoying it when I watched it. I haven't watched it in about 20 years, but I remember enjoying it. But I might seek that out actually. And watch Driller Killer again.
The one that always springs to my mind that I always felt, I saw it when I was a lot older. I saw it when I was well into my 20s, but I knew of it by its kind of reputation, was The Hills Have Eyes. And then when I finally got to watch it, when a lot of these movies were deemed no longer video nasties and were available again, and I watched it on DVD, and it felt like it was just sort of horrible for the sake of being horrible. Do you know what I mean? And it's a Wes Craven movie, you know. Normally his films, like A Nightmare on Elm Street's not like that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of mythology and stuff in that first film, and he's playing with a lot of different themes and a lot of legend and stuff like that. It's actually quite a clever film, the first Nightmare on Elm Street, if you really analyse it. Whereas this just felt like it was just nasty for the sake of it. And when I was watching this one, I thought, I didn't think that Let Us Pray was just sort of nasty for the sake of being nasty, because it's quite an interesting premise. And like we said at the beginning, there's a nod to John Carpenter and sort of siege movies and things like Assault on Precinct 13, but it does feel like they're having a bit of fun toward the end. You know what I mean? And it you know, because the violence is sort of absurd, really. Do you know what I mean? In a lot of ways, it's like Caesar being killed by having his face kind of buffed off by the shoe buffer.
Well, I mean, I think we can go into it. It does get quite Hot Fuzz-esque towards the end, but like a gory version of Hot Fuzz. So McCready comes back into the police station. He's wrapped himself in barbed wire. Yeah. He's got his shotgun, and he just goes fucking, I mean, beautiful line, because Rachel, he phones Rachel, and Rachel leaves the phone on, and I think is it one of McCready And the other says, what did you get that old fuck involved for?
Yeah.
And then he just comes bursting the door. Which one of you called me an old fuck? And blam with a shotgun. And just goes absolutely mental on everyone. And it's actually brilliant when he comes in, and that's when the violence just ramps up. I mean, I'm sorry, but when he blows Warnock's balls off, that is one of the best shots I've ever seen in terms of someone getting their balls blown off. Like, it actually looks like you can see bits drop down, and it's horrible. And because you don't see it from the front, you see it from behind as well. It's just incredible.
Which one of you fucks called me old?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, as gentlemen, we don't really want to see guys get their bollocks shot off. It's not something we want to think about, is it? But yeah, it's well done, to your point.
And then the violence just ensues. Obviously, the Rachel and Mundy go down and kind of lock themselves downstairs, but then they come back up because McCready set the station on fire. And that's when the violence, as you say, so Mundy's death is pretty bad. She tries to jump out a window that Caesar has smashed with a chair, but slips on the chair in front and lodges her neck on the broken glass, and then McCready
that's pretty
jams down with a shotgun.
Pretty grim as well, isn't it?
It's horrible to see. But then the one you just alluded to is, Caesar getting his face jammed into the buffer machine for your shoes. And that's what I liked about this film as well, that there was a lot of Chekhov's gun at the beginning, the foreshadowing, because you saw Rachel using the
shoe buffer,
the shoe polish machine, and then of course the battering ram, which comes into play again later on. They mentioned that earlier, and you see that. And I thought there was quite a good, I like the use of that. But yeah, I mean, Caesar, horrible, getting his head rammed into the shoe polish machine, comes back with a Glasgow smile, as you would say, I guess. But that's not what kills him, because then McCready does then shoot him.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he does. Yeah. No, it just feels like, to your point, they're just having a good time in the last sort of 10, 15 minutes. And, as much as it's definitely gratuitous, it isn't taking itself too seriously at that stage.
No, I think it's having fun, and especially with McCready's death, which is a bit ludicrous. I mean, Rachel throws a can of petrol at him and he decides to shoot him rather than, why would you...
Just step out the way.
just step out the way or duck. But no, he shoots it, which then effectively is his downfall, because then she smashes him in the face with a battering ram, which thought was a nice touch. Yeah. And then... possibly the coolest moment of the film is she comes outside the police station and Six just saunters out, lights his fag with his flaming notebook, and then hands it to her. You're like, that's just how fucking cool.
Yeah.
How many times has he done that?
I liked the way they played with that kind of mythology of the devil and stuff, because he says, well, I'm just a witness to, to what human beings do, or I'm kind of paraphrasing a bit there, but, he said, I don't cause any of this to happen. I'm just a witness.
People like to blame me, but I'm just a witness. The things I see would make angels weep, and they have wept. This is about you. Now you can deny me all you want, but I am the fire in your eyes. I can give you every corrupt and wicked soul who will ever walk this earth. You can have your vengeance, and I will burn their souls. Because the truth is, it's a cold place without you.
It was actually, I thought it was quite refreshing to see the devil effectively as a good guy. Like, he saved Rachel as a kid.
Yeah.
So he's ensured that guy is not going to hurt any more children.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Watson, Bessick's wife, she's never going to get beaten up again by him. Mundy and Warnock won't be able to murder any more suspects. Sergeant McCready won't kill any other young men. Caesar won't be able to joyride and kill anyone else. He's done a good thing. Like, he's stopped all of these potential future deaths, effectively. So I think it was pretty refreshing to see the devil in this light as effectively a good guy. My only issue is, okay, he saved Rachel when she was a kid, and then he's been watching her all these years, I guess waiting for the right time. But he'd picked her out when she was a kid, so does that make him a nonce?
Well, I thought that as well. You know, he's just sort of biding his time.
Yeah.
So she's old enough.
Just wait until you're just old enough, so it doesn't look too creepy. Yeah, that was a little bit. Did wonder that.
Yeah.
Other points I wanted to discuss with you. Six has his notebook, as we've just said. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, Macready goes through it, and so does Rachel, but they obviously don't go through it enough because they would have noticed the names that are in there. Mm-hmm. So, okay, a little bit of a plot hole there, but I thought they would have gone through it enough. When Rachel is going through it and she's checking the names that have been crossed off in his notebook, did you notice the aliases of these people that were there? So I thought, okay, so she looks up these three people and they all have an alias. So one is Acid Bath Murderer, which you're like, okay, fair enough. I can see that. That's an alias. It's not an alias, really, is it? That's probably a nickname the press have given him, but okay, that's his alias. The next one is Angelo Holmes, which I'm like, okay, Angelo Holmes, fair enough. But the third one is, their alias is The Whale. And I'm like, the fuck does The Whale do? See? That's a shite alias for a criminal.
Just goes around swallowing semen, maybe.
Yeah. It's like, I am the whale. Like, fucking shite alias.
Mark Almond's nickname.
Oh, Jesus. 2 pints. So at the end, when Six does say that he's a witness and he's there to collect their souls. Yeah. And that's all he's there for. But then we see them all turn into venom.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they all get that sort of black cowl all like goes over their heads, isn't it? Yeah.
This black symbiote comes all over them. Yeah. I just thought instantly, just like, are they turning into venom now? Is that it? Is this going to be the sequel? They're all going to come out as Tom Hardy going to be in it? But obviously not. Never mind.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange choice, I thought. I don't think and maybe it wasn't really needed. You could maybe saved a few quid on that effect.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was enough for him to, he sort of explains, doesn't he? And even without him explaining, just in the way he moves, what he does, etc., it's all explained in that as well. So I wasn't sure that we really needed that sort of effect.
No, because he crosses their names off the list. That's job done. And then he turns to Rachel and says, like, all I wanted was their souls, but I want so much more from you.
Yeah.
And I don't think you really needed to even see them, not even just disappearing or vanishing, just leave it. We know that they're dead.
Yeah.
We know that they're
damned.
There, but I guess it was to show some sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And he effectively offers her to come and rule heaven and hell forever and ever. And
so
she accepts.
What do you think happens next then? Do you think they go out on the road together, getting into adventures and things?
Yeah. I'd imagine it's a bit like...
Dempsey and Makepeace.
What was the one with Michael Landon and his mate? Was it
Highway to Heaven?
Highway to Heaven.
It had the guy. It had Ernest Borgnine from Airwolf was in it as well.
Yes, yeah. I'd imagine it's a bit like that, but Highway to Hell.
It's got a better soundtrack.
But they might have to call it something different in case AC/DC get involved in that. Highway to Heaven, that was right. I was like, was it Highway? But that was Harry Seacombe.
Yeah, it was Harry Seacombe.
Yeah, Highway to Heaven. Yeah, it'd probably be a bit like that. I don't think it'd be like Dempsey and Makepeace. No.
It's a shame. It's exciting. Dempsey Makepeace was exciting on a Friday night.
Glynis Barber excited me.
Yeah. It was her birthday the other day, Glynis Barber. So I think she's like 71 or something.
Happy birthday, Glynis. Still a fine-looking woman.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I don't think a sequel was ever really mooted or planned.
I don't think so.
Why? What do you think they would do? They're just off together to rule.
I don't know. I just sort of, just kind of going around. Like when how like when the A-Team used to arrive in like a small American town, and there'd be some like gang of guys making life miserable for the good honest people of the town, and the A-Team would come in and sort them out. I just thought I fancied something like that, like Six sits in the pub with his little notebook out whilst Pollyanna's out there fucking taking names and kicking arse and
knocking heads.
Yeah, knocking people's heads in with our nightstick and, making people admit to their sins. Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
Have you ever had a complimentary skid mark on your pillow?
No, that did make me. I mean, that has happened to somebody involved with this movie, right? That is right. That isn't just. Oh, that would be funny. That's definitely drawn from experience. That's happened. Either the writer, the director, one of the crew, one of the actors. That's definitely happened to somebody, right?
Yeah, that made me laugh a lot when I saw that. So it amazes me, actually, that this film actually was more well received in the US than the UK.
I can understand why. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, went a bit underground in the UK, but it was quite big in the US. It was quite a good film. What I like about it as well, and the director did say that he did this on purpose, is there's no smartphones and stuff. Like the phones they have are flip phones or old phones.
Yeah.
I said the reason they did that, and the reason like Caesar is driving like a 1980s Scirocco, whereas Macready has like a newer Mondeo, for example. He said the reason they did that is because if someone's watching this in 10 years' time, which, well, we are, effectively, we're watching it in 9 years' time, you'd have no idea when this film was made.
No.
Like, you don't know when it's set, because there's nothing there that ties you really into where it is. Everything's a bit ambiguous in terms of time. It's I did like that aspect as well, and because I hate it when you're watching a film and it feels so dated with something, and I guess that's going to be a problem going forward, with a lot of stuff of, it's an iPhone 1, he's got Jesus, how old's this film?
Well, I think it depends. Like, sometimes there's, like, I watched the remake of The Firm, the football hooligan, the original one with, it's got Gary Oldman and your man from Coronation Street who played Jim McDonald. We've got to do it, Bixie! We've got to do him today. I watched the remake and I enjoyed it, but it's set in the early 80s. And they lean right into the fact that it's the 80s. So you got a great soundtrack. Everyone's dressed in sort of the fashions of the time. Even the cars, you got Volkswagen Golfs and with little soft tops and everything else. And like, it's not Intersport, which was an actual sports shop and all that sort of stuff. I kind of enjoy that. But then equally, I quite enjoy watching like an old film. If it's an old film that has been made in my lifetime, I'm 45. It's sort of like, there's a nice little bit of nostalgia about it. But I think it's quite clever too, because the other thing it's sort of served quite well by them not having smartphones and them keeping all that quite ambiguous is it just lets the plot sort of roll itself out. You know what I mean? There's no sort of taking a picture with a camera phone of the family of the murderous doctor to show everybody. You know what I mean? It's like it lets them build the tension. The thing about technology, about modern technology, is it can actually hoover quite a lot of tension out of a tense film. You know, like who is that guy? What's his name? Let me see if he's got a Facebook. You know what I mean, or whatever. Let me see if he's got an Instagram account or something like that, and it can suck all the tension out of it in this. You know, so I think it's a smart thing to do. But I'm not against I'm not against seeing the sort of limitations of technology or something like that in an old film. You know, where it's like they've only got a landline. You know, so that's the only way that they can call for help, because there was no such thing as a mobile phone or whatever, you know? No, that's fine, like I say, but I'm saying that he didn't want to kind of give it a specific date in terms of people be able to tell, which I thought was a nice touch. It's smart. You know? I think it's smart. I think it's the same, always reminds me of Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. You'd never know. They have got mobile phones, but then they're all driving old cars. And, you know, it's so ambiguous of when that film actually is set. I love it. Yeah. Love stuff like that. I think Snatch is quite similar, isn't it? It's, you know, it's this sort of same sort of kind of universe as Lock, Stock, you know. So, cool. Any other points on Let Us Pray, or is it time to put it through our awards? No, I mean, I think the only thing I would ask you is, in terms of especially a film like this, I mean, because it's not in our awards list, but what was your favourite kind of death or bit of gore? Caesar getting his head rammed into the shoe buffer. Like, I mean, My only my only regret is it didn't happen an hour earlier, because I'm not a fan of Brian Vernal's performance in this at all. But that was certainly just because it's so ridiculously gratuitous, and I enjoyed that. What about you?
Yeah, I think that was up there. I think because of the way they built up to it, almost, because you have obviously him blowing Warnock's balls off and then shooting, and that's horrible.
Yeah,
and then you're like, right, let's take it up a notch. And Mundy, and I think it's so clever the way they did that he shoots the water cooler like as he's blasting towards Caesar. The water spills on the chair. Mundy, when she runs up and you just see her slip and bang, and it's horrible. And then they're like, right, okay, those are two kind of not realistic deaths, but you know what I mean? They're quite gruesome.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a bit of fun. Let's ram Caesar's face into the shoe polisher. Yeah. And it's that did remind me of kind of the thing you'd see in like Evil Dead. Like something like that. It's a bit more of a ridiculous. I mean, thankfully he wasn't like an Evil Dead. You would see Caesar flailing his arms around. But thankfully he wasn't doing that. I think that was particularly quite good.
Yeah,
but it's always the worst things. Like I say, it's always the things that you can kind of not associate with, but you can kind of feel. So like when Rachel slashes Macready's, it's like his Achilles or the back of his leg with the Stanley knife. That's when you're always like, oh, you fucker, because you can just feel that. And goes right through you. Okay,
all right then. So normally the first award would be the Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub, but there's no pub in this one. It's been mentioned a few times. It's very self-contained.
You see a pub, but it's empty.
Yeah.
And it looked like a great pub. Had a bandit. There was no one there. It looked great. Self-service. I'd happily go there.
Walk in. Okay. The next award then is I think you described him recently as the patron saint of the Culture Swally, the James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish. So who did you go for here?
I went with Jonathan Watson.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I went with Pollyanna Macintosh just because of the run that she has here, like 3 sort of back-to-back Scottish productions which get her off to the States. But yeah, Watson's a great shout as well. A few options for this next one. So the Jake McQuillan Your Tease Out Award. What did you pick here?
Well, what did you go for? Because there's a lot of options, I would say. Maybe about 3, I think.
I went with Pollyanna sticking the nut on Monday, just because it's fucking just love it. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. I went with that. I did initially have Macready elbowing Caesar, and then him puking. It's not so much a tease out, but it was either Rachel headbutting Mundy or the battering ram to the face. At the very end, that's a very tease out. But I think it's something about a headbutt that has to make it qualify for tease.
Yes,
it's second best headbutt we've had on the Swally, maybe.
It's very much in the Jake McQuillan school of your tease out. Somebody getting a dose of the Malky.
Because I re-listened to us doing Crime Series 1, and you said that Angela Griffiths, when she headbutts her boss, that is the best headbutt we've had on the Swally.
Yeah, that was good. I've forgotten about that one. But I think it's very much in the just a boys game school of retribution. Somebody getting a severe dose of the Malky, as they say in Glasgow. Next one then, the Ewan McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity.
There's nothing. I mean, no.
I've written
nothing.
I've written McCready's sexy dance. That's like the closest thing that we get.
I could accept that. Yeah, let's take that.
Next then, the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing.
There's a couple of options, but I went with the which one of you fucks called me old as Macready storms back into the police station.
That's a good one. The one I went for is when, I can't remember who Six is talking to, but somebody says about how the town, it's a one-horse town, and Six goes, and it's a pale fucking horse. I thought that was good. I like that.
Which is unusual, given that this is such a one-horse town.
And it's a pale fucking horse.
What was that?
I mean, it's not really gratuitous, but I like the kind of, the sort of foreboding, sort of theme of the comment.
Yeah.
Next then, archetypal Scottish moment in the film.
And that, my boy, is what we call a nippy sweetie.
Yes, that's a great one. That's a really good one. I went with and the reason I went with this is because it really made me think of a certain place, but the sort of the angry seas at the beginning, where we see Six coming up and stuff, it reminds me of, there's an area outside Peterhead called Bueller's of Buchan, and it's a sort of inlet, I guess, into the cliff, and it's just all the time, just because of the way the water kind of pours into it, it's sort of like that, sort of massive waves, and just looks really dangerous and forbidden. It just reminded me of that, so that's why I went for that. And then the Sean Connery Award. Who won the film for you?
Oh, who did you go for this one then?
I mean, I gave it a sort of a kind of two-hander to Pollyanna Macintosh and Liam Cunningham. I found it very difficult to choose between the two of them. I thought they were both really good. What about you?
Yeah, I was the same. I gave it to Liam Cunningham.
Yeah.
But I think it's a shame to not include Pollyanna in that, because she's brilliant in this as well.
Yeah, she's
and the two
fantastic.
of them work so well together. So yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'll happily give it to both of them.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, no, I enjoyed it.
Wonderful. Well,
yeah, I would definitely. If you haven't seen it, we've ruined it for you now. But when we put the post up on Instagram, I'll try and compel as many potential listeners to watch the film before listening to the pod.
Yeah, I thought it was a good, fun 90 minutes. Yeah, you have to wonder in terms of, because I looked at it and thought, this is either going to be good or it's going to be fucking terrible. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just the right kind of tone for me. So no, thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was good.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, that was my choice, and that concludes our Swally Spooktacular, Greg. So it's your choice on the next episode of the Swally. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be looking at on the next episode?
Well, I've gone for a real classic from Scottish theatre. I've gone for the first part of the celebrated Scottish playwright John Byrne's Slab Boys trilogy, which is called The Slab Boys. There's a few different versions of it out there. You can find quite a lot of them on YouTube. I've already sent you the one that we'll watch for the review, but I've not seen it for years and years and years and years, and I'm really looking forward to watching it again. So that's what we'll be talking about on the next episode.
Wonderful. Fantastic. I don't know if I've ever seen it, to be honest.
You're in for a treat.
I think I have.
In for a treat.
I think it's always escaped me.
Yeah.
And I'll look forward to that. Wonderful. Right. The Slab Boys, look forward to watching that on the next episode of The Swally. Well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hey, why don't you get in touch with us? You can drop us an email on cultureswally@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with any news stories you've seen you'd like us to cover, or if you have any requests that you'd like us to cover, anything Scottish at all, or just drop us a line to say hello. You can follow us on the socials. We're on Instagram at cultureswallypod, and we are on X, formerly known as Twitter, at SwallyPod. And we have a wonderful website as well, don't we, Greg?
Yep, you can find us on the cultureswally.com. There's links to all our socials, articles about Scottish media, so come and have a wee look, check us out.
Fantastic. Right, well, wonderful to catch up with you again, Greg.
It was.
You up to anything else exciting today?
Yeah, well, not exciting, but I'm being dragged out to see Dizzy Rascal this evening. It doesn't look, I was hoping it might get cancelled because we're in Dubai, and obviously there's a lot of horrible stuff going on in the Middle East at the moment, so I thought they might cancel it just out of sympathy for what's going on there, but unfortunately not. So I'll be going bonkers in about 4 hours from now.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I hope you have a lovely time and don't be the boy in the corner. Till next time, Greg.
Till next time.
Can I get a smoke before lockdown?
No smoking.
You're joking.
Your room, sir. Enjoy the complimentary skid mark on the pillow.